60 coming in now.
Welcome,
Excellent.
guys.
New Zealand,
Yeah, I'm 24.
Mon Monda Green says, I'm still confused. Am I bearish or bullish? So it's up to you, mate. You decide if you're, I
Bur-
don't even know what those words are.
Yeah, Beerlish.
Oh, Kettlebell wants to see the baby shark dance.
Oh, I'm going to show you all the baby shark dance.
Oh, God. Please, you should not have mentioned it.
Because Josh has got it stuck in his head. So to start us all
Horrendous.
off, we're going to get us all in the mood of. So
No.
Elon Musk tweeted. So I was reading some news because so hang on, let me have a look. Where can I share? Where's my share button? Share screen. Okay, so this is Elon Musk's reply to South Park the other day. So it was this is a couple of weeks old. So, I think a lot of people miss this. And it was in a news article that I was reading that the SEC are looking into Elon and his tweets. And apparently, this tweet to the baby shark dance moved Samsung. So around the same time, there's a cryptocurrency called Shark, and it's absolutely revolting. So this is baby shark. This was created just after Elon created or tweeted that. So, and go into the Shark contract, we can see that a lot of the money has come from this other project, which was called Shark. So this is why we need to know what we're investing in. So, and that's the onus. Like if somebody tells you to invest, always go and do some research and have a look. If you're trading, it's a different thing because you're just buying and selling. But if you're investing, then, make sure you are looking sort of investing in, because this is Shark Token. So obviously Shark Token was not doing very well. It's horrible. It's like literally revolting. So this is a 12-hour chart and we can see that it's just dumped and it's flatlined. So if we go to the Shark, in like all of these now have to have, and you can see how many sort of people are trading it, how many people are holding it, where the money's going. So this is always something good to look at. So this is a new feature that they've got on Coin charts, which is the dev wallet checker. So you want to be able to check the dev wallets for the rug checks, especially if you're investing in these coins, looking at them longer term, you want to know where the money's going. So, this is, obviously, a lot of this money, is in Shark. We've got all the dev wallets here. If we do follow some of this money trail, we do see that some of the money from these dev wallets was moved to Baby Shark. So, and when it was created. So the same devs have created Baby Shark. So, which is not, obviously they saw opportunity and, created these tokens, to make money. So, but yeah, so obviously, Elon's tweeted this song, and along came Baby Shark. So it's not doing terribly great either. It did particularly good when he did tweet it, and then it has died. So just so you can get it sort of stuck in your head, let's have a look at the.
No, let's not, please. Feel free to drop off the live stream right now, everybody, and come back in about 2 minutes.
Sharks. So we
No
do
more
know,
baby shark.
that Elon has got a baby, so it could have been just that. So, but I'm just going to leave that with you. It's like baby sharks, and if you're going on to PooCoin and you're going to be trading some of these coins, and obviously from time to time they do make dollars.
As
But
I've just seen Reese in the chat. I came for the charts. I stay for the music.
So this dev wallet checker is an amazing thing. So have a look where all the money flow is going. Do your research before you sort of jump in. If this is a long-term thing, like there's a lot of really cool long-term coins happening on PooCoin and coming into Pancake, to a lot of the dexes that do get moved on to the larger exchanges, but that doesn't happen like for these, like it may happen if they get big enough, but like a lot of these sort of just come in, they pump, they dump, and they disappear. So, and then the money flow just keeps happening. So just make sure you have a look at those dev checkers, have a look where the transactions are going, do some research. So, and that way, us influencers don't get in trouble for not telling you everything. So, yeah. And yeah, by the way, guys, I was a little bit bored today, so I thought I'd give a few people a hard time on Twitter. So, yeah.
Yeah, we noticed.
Really? You didn't? You noticed? So, this is the 15-minute chart on BTC. So, should technically this breakout zone, we haven't done that yet, so we're still waiting, and our MAs are like jumping up at the moment. And so if we have a look at this and we put some waves, some support under this region, this line, so, and then we've got on the divergence on the RSI, so we have clear bullish divergence happening on this RSI. So doesn't mean that we're not going to quickly get this quick wick down. We've still got some bear momentum on this divergence indicator down here. So if we go to the higher time frame, so a 4-hour time frame, we're still very much in a bullish sort of momentum in this region on the divergence here. And this is a short-term sort of move that we're getting. So I do think we're going to have a minor pullback, 37 sort of 500-ish mark, and then continue up. But as all breakouts happen, we do get that retest. So the overall pattern, that would be BTC just like deciding it's doing its thing as it does. So the overall pattern here is still up, although I've got some short-term like down. We're currently going up at the moment. So we've got this, on that 15-minute chart, we do have bullish divergence, which means we could be in a short squeeze as well happening. So if we go back to that 15-minute chart, excuse my alarms, we can see that we are bouncing. This is a 50 MA, which I don't normally have on the chart. So if you're in my group, you will know why I put it on the chart. So, if this is a short process at the moment, as we've seen kind of along this region, we've been squeezing out the shorts. So basically, we had the GameStop sort of stuff, and we all know how the short squeezes work, that, they entice all the shorters to come into the market in these regions. We have this overall bearish sentiment, and, the market just explodes upwards. And, having so many shorts in the market actually helps the momentum market with a continuation. So, I've kind of spoke about this region being the same as the sort of 18 to the 8 to 10,000 region before, and the 27 to sort of 31,000 region. So if we go back on this chart as well, so let's go back to the daily. And so if we go right back to where we were market, where we were sort of, had this downturn where everyone, this is January. So we're back at the beginning of January where everyone was completely bearish. And, at 30K, we were going back down to 10K, similar to what we are here. So we've got 6 monthly futures this month. So, throughout the month until July. So we had I think in Cointelegraph, that the largest amount of futures were bought in January. So that if you go back, you'll find the Cointelegraph news from January saying that they had the largest amount of influx of futures coming into the market and buying. So market sentiment at the period where these futures were bought was bearish. So the top was in apparently, and we were going back down. So if you think about, when you're buying a 6 monthly future and we're, thinking we're going into a sort of a 6 bear market, then, obviously this region here, extremely bearish, and shorts are being purchased. So once we get to 6 months down the track, we're kind of in the same regions. These shorts haven't sort of like lost a hell of a lot of money, if they don't get rolled over. So potentially they can get rolled over if the purchaser of those shorts or those futures then believes that the market's going to keep dropping, and they're taking that risk that the market's going to keep dropping. So that's a potential that the market could hold this region, or it could drop because if the futures do get rolled over. If they decide that it's not worth like having that and rolling them over, they release. So these the contracts are then released into the market. So at this point, if I think they were all bought as shorts. So if they're shorts release into the market as longs. So at this point, over the next month, we should hold this region. Now, this is a clear accumulation pattern. We do have a little bit of upper resistance. Obviously, that's why it's not. But we are starting to break these diagonals. So our next point is obviously to these upper waves. So our 200 upper indicators, our 200 MA is at our technical pivot. So that's our next hurdle to get past. So we'll probably see a little bit of sideways action over the next probably week, sort of not a lot of momentum upwards. Although do release, we're going to see that sort of that explosion that we did see the other day. And our next hurdle is that 42 sort of 700-ish mark, which is our 200 MA on the daily. So that's kind of what we're looking at in BTC over the next little while. We could possibly see a retest. So just be aware if you're in longs and you're heavily margined, we could see a retest of this region coming down before we do head up. So, but I do believe we are heading up this week in BTC and the market as a whole. So if that, obviously if that momentum changes and that sort of, we see some sort of, really bad news or something come into the market, then obviously I've got stop losses and, will change my sort of perspective on trading, but that's kind of what I'm seeing right now. So, and there was some news that you were talking about as well, Josh, that you sent on BTC the other day.
Oh, which news was that one?
That was the, I think I tweeted it. The one where they've got the upgrade happening.
Oh, yeah, the Taproot.
Yeah.
That's the one, because I remember you said it was, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, so
integrating Taproot.
So I'm just going to see if I can pull up what the...
I know it's, it's not fully activated for another few months, but it's successfully integrated. It's a huge thing for Bitcoin on the geeky kind of development side of it. And to be honest, I've read it about 2 or 3 times and still can't quite get my head around what they're doing, but it's a good thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, so no, it's a massive thing. So this is something that they've been planning. So I was saying to Josh, this Taproot was happening in 2017 and it got pushed back. So there were tokens that and this like Rift tokens and, so Taproot was an ICO, closed ICO, and you had to know someone to know someone. So it was really hard to Obviously at that point, I had coin runners and we were really desperately trying to get into this ICO, but obviously it's taken this long to get in. So basically what's happening is the digital signature of BTC is going to change. So, you know, it's the fingerprint that an individual leaves on every transaction they make. So right now the cryptocurrency uses something called elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, created from a private key. And so Taproot is something that the signatures will essentially make multi-million transactions unreadable. So it's kind of, yeah, it's, you know, there's been so much talk about this as to, you know, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, or yeah, so it's going interesting to know, you know, sort of how the market reacts with this, but it is in the making. So I don't see that it's such a horrible thing right now. But yeah, so it does make the anonymity of the you know, the transactions a little bit harder to track.
Faster transactions as well.
Which
fees
is needed.
have probably come down, so yeah.
Yeah, fees obviously aren't as huge as what Ethereum have at, well, Ethereum fees are actually not so bad at the moment, but like they do get horribly revolting from time to time. So yeah. So this is Ethereum. So we've got obviously a similar sort of pattern to what Bitcoin at the moment. This is a 2-hour chart. So we're just hitting that resistance of those MA. So, but we do have support of the EMAs. So we're kind of in this sandwich zone on Ethereum. So we might see a little bit of sideways kind of movement. I do believe we're going to kind of hold this sort of 2,450-ish mark before continuing up. This is also a diagonal support region. If we put some trend lines here coming up in this region, we've got some support here. Would have a lower support and sort of go sideways in this region. So that would look something like coming up, retesting, and then sort of moving up that way. So Ethereum should continue up. So we've got an inverse head and shoulders that is forming here as well. So higher and, you know, continue this pattern. So that's looking at the moment. If we go back, we've got a larger inverse head and shoulders in there as well. So this should push us up to around the $3,000 mark on Ethereum, with Bitcoin heading up to that 42K. So Ethereum's going to get a little bit higher percentages. We're going to see some sideways here for the next little while, and maybe a day or so, and then a continuation. Just breaking down at this point. So, you know, obviously if that does happen, then stop losses will be triggered. But again, sort of, you know, Ethereum has got those 6-monthly futures that are coming into the market. And, you know, the sentiment back in January was incredibly bearish. Looking at that, sort of look at those sort of releasing long into the market at this point of time. So yeah, it depends on how much that can kind of, you know, sway the market. Yeah. So what have we got? I'll go to the Ethereum BTC pair, which is moving nicely as well. So obviously, you know, how I've explained a lot and a lot in the crypto getting group, getting started in crypto, sorry, that's the Twitter. So group that basically the, you know, the way sort of coins and tokens work in their pairings. So this is a BTC pair. So obviously when BTC is going up, this Ethereum pair is losing strength at the moment. And we can see that by the decline. So if we have a look at this, so this is the, and if we go back to Bitcoin, this is sort of bottom on the 8th of June and we started moving up. So this is where Bitcoin started gaining strength and Ethereum started losing strength. That's why it's sort of easier when Bitcoin's going up to trade a USDT pair and not a BTC pair. So you want to be trading BTC pairs when a market is really stable, and in a bear market, a BTC pair is basically you will make the most money. But in a bullish or a fairly sort of neutral market, the majority of the time a USDT pair is going to make the most sort of money for you. So yeah, so just keep that in mind. When BTC is gaining strength, this Ethereum BTC pair is going to be dropping. So if BTC continues to gain strength, which it should do, this is going to continue to correct. So there's a potential that these diagonals could break. Ethereum could come to about the 0475 region if this doesn't hold up here. So yeah, so that's kind of our main charts. So let's jump into the 10 charts. I'm not going to say in 10 minutes because it's never 10 minutes. So yeah.
Pushing it. Yeah. In 10-ish minutes.
In 10-ish minutes.
It can sometimes be half an hour, but it's close enough.
So yeah, for those that don't know, this is our captain speaking, and he's guiding us along the way.
Yeah. For all those comments that say I sound like a pilot on a plane.
Yeah, one day we'll get to see him.
Yeah, all in good time.
Yeah. So our first chart is Theta. So right at this point of time, like, we are under a little bit of resistance. So we've seen during the week, ADA is one of the charts that had strong resistance, and I will find it for you. Where is it? ADA. And we've broken out of this resistance. Now we are just sort of tangling with these indicators here for ADA, but it's looking very good. So Theta should break out and retest. So ideally, have a little bit of a pullback, we'll come back and we'll go over and then we'll continue up. So ideally that's the pathway that we want to see here, because Theta's got some cool things happening, doesn't it, Josh?
They do. It's all about their mainnet 3, which is out in 16 days and 9 hours and 27 minutes. Not that anyone's counting. Yeah, so a huge update for Theta.
So this update was going to happen way back when we sort of started, and they pushed it back. So, it was around the 16th of April. I've got really bad internet, so apologies, guys. So we hit $15, almost $16. Now, they released the news that they were having some issues and they pushed back the main net, and we had this massive drop. So kind of in line with a lot of the corrections anyway. It's kind of picking up momentum at the moment. So our number 2 is T-Fuel. Obviously, this is important because it powers and you can move Theta around with T-Fuel. So we're currently coming back. We're on a diagonal support. We should hold around this region. We're about the 50-cent mark on T-Fuel. We do have, some bullish momentum coming in here on the 4-hour. We have hit resistance on the RSI. So this is going to sort of hold range and sort of just have a minor correction, which is kind of in line with what's happening with BTC and Ethereum. So most of the alts will have that same sort of, feel to them with the pullback. So that's kind of what's happening here. So we might see a little bit of sideways movement down, and so anything with T-Fuel, Josh?
Yeah, so with the mainnet for Theta obviously coming out, T-Fuel are going to be burning a percentage of the tokens. The transaction fees will increase, but I mean they're still up to 95% lower than the current fees on Ethereum. So
not hard.
Yeah, no, they're going to be doing some T fuel supply burning as the mainnet 3 gets launched.
Okay, so yeah, so both good to be adding to your bags on the dips. Obviously, you know, we're going to have some small corrections in BTC along the way. Our number 3 chart is Algorand. So we've got a very similar pattern in Algorand than we to BTC. So we've had, this is our wave 1 high on Algorand. We can see that we've come back down on this 4th and we've touched that. We're holding above. So we should see continuation in this pattern. So, you know, kind of holding around the sort of 87 and upwards, anywhere to sort of ladder into this trade. Yeah, any dips? Good one. So yeah, so what's anything happening in Algo?
Yeah, they recently, Arrington Capital, a big investment firm, have been eyeing up Algorand for a while, and they decided, just reading on a release 2 days ago, they decided they're going to pop a cool $100 million growth fund into Algorand's ecosystem to focus on expanding it. And the Michael Arrington of Arrington Capital said he's inspired by the traction that Algorand has in the market right now. So the big boys are eyeing it up and pumping their money into it, which is always a good thing.
Patterns really good. So if you're one of the big boys, obviously you have technical analysts that look at these patterns, and the Algorand pattern is, you know, really good. It's, you know, as far as Elliott wave goes, we've held these wave corrections, and, you know, it's looking really good. Obviously it had a bull run, 675% profits. We've come back down and we should continue up. So if you see this, we haven't even reached, you know, the very top of this at the moment. So we've got this cup pattern, we're coming down, we've completed this handle almost. So when we do get these pullbacks with these cups, we do get sort of like a 50% pullback, which we're having, or we've had, and we should get continuation up higher on Algorand. So I've got a question in the chat there about the death cross. So if you're in my getting started in crypto group, we have a weekly update, which we did last night. We talked about the death cross. So I'm going to quickly talk about this on the show because, like, it's a big thing on crypto. You guys are so obsessed with this death cross and with this MA. And the reason I don't normally have a 50 MA on my charts because I don't think it matters. But we can see that we've got this death cross that's happened on the 100 and the 50, and we're coming down for 200 to cross. But I just like to take you back in time. So we're going to go back in time and we're going to have a look at this pattern here. So, you know, obviously we had some death crosses in this region. We've crossed, you know, and it's continued. So we did the 100 and the 200, and then we've continued. So, you know, we've come back down, we've touched, we've crossed, and then all of a sudden we're up and we're 65,000. So that's, for me, the 50 and the 50 MA is not a huge part of anything that I sort of assess. Like, obviously, if the 100 and the 200 sort of cross, then I'll be like into sort of a more bearish sort of pattern. Obviously, a lot of day traders will, you know, take that as a very serious sort of pattern that is breaking down. So you can see as well on my daily indicator, this is a divergence indicator. It's available on the premium, the top range with all the indicators, trading view. So lagging indicator, so it doesn't come up straight away. So you do actually need to know divergence and how that works. But this sort of just sort of amplifies like what you're already seeing. So we can see that we've got bullish divergence on this chart, and it's not changed. The momentum's not changed. You can see that we've got in this range, and it kind of, this is this range here where we were sort of hitting the top. You can see that we've got this bearish divergence in this region. So, you know, looking at this, still very bullish in this range on the daily. Our MACD is still very bullish looking. It hasn't even crossed up to the other side with the waves yet. So we've still got a lot more room to move in this bullish market. Obviously where we are now is a very neutral zone, and it has to be traded very carefully. Like in the group, we're just doing a lot of scalps, and obviously those are sort of may turn in trades, but that's how we're playing it at the moment. Yeah, so over the weekend we did have 11% I think it was in BTC, and a scalp. A lot of people do take a small margin trade in that. So yeah, so that's kind of what I think about the death cross, and I know it's a big thing on Twitter. So yeah, but more research. I think the 100 and the 200 are your main sort of MAs that you want to keep on there. The 50 not so much. So yeah, so back to the alts as I just ramble on. So our number 4 chart is comp, and let me take some of this off. So we've coming down, we've got a cross support. So for those that kind of have followed me for a while, I talk a lot about cross supports and those sort of zones. And I look for those especially when I'm doing sort of 1,000 to million trades, because with a cross support, I can put a tighter stop loss and not so much get stopped out unless BTC dies, and then it stops out everything. But so we're coming down, we've got a cross support in this region, and then a continuation. So, if BTC can continue climbing, a lot of these alts are going to get some really good and not break down. So if it does, everything's going to just break down and die. But if we have a look at these patterns, we are on some really support regions at the moment. So just pulling a line straight across here, we can see that we've touched this long-term support. So this goes back right back to November last year. So and we keep coming back and bouncing on this region. So it can be a little bit tricky if these areas break down. Most of regions with long-term supports. So that's kind of why I think Bitcoin's going to continue up. We don't want to see the market fall apart just yet. So yeah. So this is going with Elon's Dogecoin or Dodge.
Oh, just before, let me come back to compound.
I forgot you even got news on comp, don't you?
It's hard, yeah, when you can't see me. I get, and you're in the flow, you're just going with it. I get it. I just wanted to say with compound is most of us know compound.finance as their website, which it still is. But in the third quarter of this year, they're going to be releasing Compound Gateway. And that's, if you head to compound.cash, you'll be able to go and check out that gateway. At the moment, it's going to be a gateway where you can be earning interest and the collateral and borrowing, but that's coming this quarter essentially. So they're making some big moves.
Yeah, see, that's the other reason why I don't see Bitcoin really sort of dropping down and everything. There's so many of these alts with all these developments and all this news, and they've worked so hard to get to this point. Obviously, if we do go into a bear market, that all sort of changes. And, 2018, a lot of these projects just took such a long time to get any traction. And, now, which is nice to see for a lot of them. So yeah, so okay, we'll jump back over to Elon's Dogecoin. So, and we have got a cross support in this region. We kind of missed it, so it kind of just sort of went up. So that sometimes happens as well. So we might get a drop down to this long-term support. We've got that in, it goes right back to this point here. So this is an April support. So if that kind of breaks down on Doggy, we have a long way to go. So but I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to sort of hold these regions sort of going up. So it's, you know, we've got a support that can come back to April in this region. You know, we had such a long sideways movement in Doggy before we did get any movement. And, you know, obviously Elon helped with that. You know, there's so many like fake projects on this one popping up. So, you know, it's kind of hard to know, but I do know there's some news with this one as well.
Yeah, there is. However, it's always, whenever I'm looking around for the news and the developments, it's always 95% because of what Elon's done and because it's a meme coin. It's hearsay and gossip, and which is fair enough, because that is how this coin, you know, pumps its market. Although, and you know, I tend to look for projects that have functionality developments and tech developments and stuff like that. But each to their own.
I know a lot of people love to get asked about it all the time, and it's like, it's not in a bad position to, you know, to be taking a trade at this point. And, you know, that's what I do. I trade. I'm not holding these ones for a very long time. I'm just trading the waves. So next, so this is AMP, which was previously Flex. So now Flexer, if you do a Google search and you go to YouTube, you will see that back in, I think it was 2017 or 2018, I did a video because I had an ICO that we ran through Coin Runners. So, so this is really an amazing project, and they've been working really, really hard to get the network running efficiently, this sort of, you know, in the works and sort of functioning. And, you know, obviously they were bought out and they did some, what would you call it? Some partnerships and everything, and it's now AMP. So we've got a beautiful cup pattern here, and we're coming down and we're actually completing this handle. So, and then we've got, like, once we get that sort of movement happening, it's got some big moves, some 140 on AMP coming up. So some news.
Yeah, and that cup handle would have been helped very nicely by the very casual, actually. I missed this, but they're listed on Coinbase now, as of June the 11th, so a few days ago. And you know, I missed that. They were very casual about it and just, oh yeah, we're on Coinbase now.
Oh, really?
However, yeah.
As well, that they're on Coinbase now. So we can see on the MACD here, we're getting the bullish. It's, you know, this is a trade, and, you know, 140% in this market is huge right now. So, and I think it's really, really possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is Sushi. So Sushi, I like this one because we are on the long. It keeps bouncing on these regions. We're coming down where my star is, and, you know, we're just coming back in, and I think we're going to continue up from this point. Another reason why I don't think BTC is breaking down. So obviously if BTC does break down, you're going to have stop losses, guys, because these charts are not going to go up. So that's my one caveat always over the next few weeks, is that, you know, Bitcoin is going to kill patterns from time to time. So, you know, right now the pattern is looking really good. It should start to sort of curl up in this region. The MACD here is starting to cross bullish. This is a 12-hour chart. Lower timeframes have already crossed bullish, and we've had a bounce on the RSI on the support region. So to me, this is looking good.
Looking good. And let me find my tab. Yes, so not a huge amount of news and stuff that I was researching. I did notice that Arca, who are a huge cryptocurrency investment firm, the chief investment officer Jeff Dorman has revealed that the firm believe that SushiSwap's Sushi that's a tricky one. SushiSwap sushi token might be the most undervalued in the cryptocurrency space. So they're bullish on sushi for sure.
Right. When you think of sort of does what Solana does and those other ones, and those are Solana's what, $38 today, so it's very undervalued. But then you've got coins like 1inch that are like $2.50 or something. So how do you sort of weigh? Yeah, anyway, don't get me started. But price action looks really good on this one. Our number, what are we up to? Oh my goodness, I've done this again every week. 1, 2, 5,
8 maybe
7, 8. We have Doc. So Doc is crawling up this. We've got an uptrend channel, parallel channel at the moment happening on Doc. Patterns to like trade, because we know that this is our top, this is our bottom, so you can place orders here, sell or at this point. So once we get to 3 touches, on the 4th touch we go through, so we've got one more touch up higher before we break down lower. So if you ladder into this trade, you're going to get about 50% profits in the short term, and then it may come back down for one more drop before it. So yeah, it's a nice pattern to trade.
And I quite like this actually. Doc got a advert at Times Square in New York, and they just retweeted that on their Twitter. So they can, those adverts can, I think they can cost up to probably well over about $50,000 a day. So they've got money that they're spending to market, and they're not exactly just starting out.
Marketing is a big thing. So there's obviously such a lot of uproar at the moment on Twitter about marketing. So when you think about, like, I come from a marketing background, so I owned a modeling and casting agency prior to being into crypto. And I worked with marketing actors and models and finding them work. So, crypto is no different. So, when you've got, you're selling something and you go to a network, it's fairly easy to get a product noticed. But in the crypto industry, obviously I think there's something like 8,000 coins now. How do you get those noticed? So obviously you go to influencers like myself, probably about 100 or so or more of us, and a lot of companies will approach us. I don't take on every project, but I do. I have taken on projects, and I have taken on allocations from projects, and I'm quite open about that I do trade and hold everything that I bring to the public. So how do you get the products noticed? Well, basically marketing. So how do you do that in the cryptocurrency world? You want to bring it to your audience. You guys are the audience. So that's why influencers like me will bring you products. And, I always recommend that you do your own research, and that's why I showed you at the start of the show. For those that are just joining in late, please go back and watch that. What to look out for when you're looking at, basically these shit coins. Well, they're on poo coin, so it's like, what else are they? So, but yeah, I try to put some sort of honesty in. It is quite hard to be overly transparent. I don't take on all of these projects. Like probably 95% of the projects that approach me, I do turn away. And Josh can attest to that, because he's mostly going, Lisa, do you want to do this? And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Absolutely. Several a day. Sometimes it's getting really busy. So we have to filter through so many projects.
But there are there are so many amazing projects that are out there, and we just don't know about them. So, you know, when these projects come and they say, okay, I'm getting this off the ground, you know, can you help me with investment? Can you help me marketing? We do various different things with some of the projects. So, you know, it just depends on what they're needing at the time. But yeah, that's the only way that something can become known in this industry, because you guys are all the traders, obviously, and you want to know about these projects. Some of them you will hodl, like for longer term, that are, you know, really good. So you know, I'm not selling my bags onto you, as everyone says. Yeah, so most of these ones that I do sort of take a, you know, a vested interest in, I'm holding those bags because I believe in these projects long term. A lot of them I have locked coins and tokens as well, so I can't sell them. And that's part of the deal in the contract. So and that just ensures that I'm promoting the coin and, you know, bringing it to you guys longer term, so that build and develop. So, you know, that's how I do it. And I just wanted to be a little bit transparent about that, because there is such a huge amount of, you know, sort of talk about it on Twitter. But, you know, as an investor, that's what happens. So, you know, and obviously, you know, if I'm believing in a project and I want to bring that to you guys. So, and it does state on, if I've done like for Roson, if you have a look at the YouTube, it says I'm invested in this project. So yeah, just for total transparency on that. So okay, are we moving on? We've gone. Yeah, we've done dog.
Where did we get up to?
Okay, so I think we're at number 9. So we've got UnoRe. So this is in a massive falling wedge. Falling wedge is probably one of the most bullish patterns you can have. And, you know, they've got some really big news happening. I'll let Josh talk this, because I really think this is about to break out.
I would say so as well. They've got, in about 5 hours from now, they're going to be launching their staking program. So there's a lot of hype and a lot of buzz around that. Yeah,
so this you can get on KuCoin, and I'm pretty sure they're on Uniswap and Pancake as well. So yeah, so check them out, check out their Twitter, and yeah, get into this, because they're going to have some really good, really huge liquidity pools. Now, staking's a really cool thing to do, especially when the market completely sideways. You want to be farming and staking and making money while there's no money to be made. So, and that way, you know, you've got just do nothing, make money. It's the best thing.
So their Twitter handle is at UnoReinSure, UnoReinSure. So yeah, go check them out.
So number 10 is ETC. Similar to what we saw in some of these other patterns, we've had this massive correction, but that's okay, because we're still holding patterns. So we've got this wave high here that we haven't crossed. And, you know, this has got some big news coming out. So I do think we're going to continue. We're on the other side of this resistance, and we've just broken up on the other side of this resistance here. So, you know, while we could have a little bit of movement while BTC corrects, I think the news is big enough to start moving this again.
Yeah, just in general, just having a look at all the news at a glance for ETC, it's mega bullish. They're all talking about how it's about to, it's found support and on the cusp of a 45% rally, and or up to $100 and this and that. So, and this is from a huge amount of major outlets, Coin Journal, FX Street. So they're all feeling like it's going to be pumping
Yeah, I think if we do get one more drop, we've got this red support here. So we're on the other side of this. So if we do keep going down, around sort of 51 is going to be the low if it goes back down. But yeah, we're definitely going to double the money in the next little while. So you've got 100% move on this one coming up, which is, such a in this market right now. 2-hour chart, we've got a small pullback happening at the moment, but overall this is a super bullish chart for me.
Excellent. That's number 10, isn't it?
10. And now we've got coin of the week, chart of the week. So ta-da! Got sound is getting stuck. Yeah, my internet.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I've got the worst internet. Dug up some cables in my area and it's just horrible. So our chart of the week is AVA. So this is Travala, so AVA. So we've come along. Now I tweeted last night because I just want to show you something on this. We've got so many touches to this support, and we've got, this is our wave one high, which is the red sort of line here. We've come down, we've touched it, we haven't crossed it. So it's looking really, really strong. So we may just fill out this triangle for a little bit longer, and then we're going to, this week they've got some big news that I'm not allowed to tell you about.
I might know about that news as well, and I know how desperate you are to tell people about it, but you've got to hang on, maybe a few more days.
Couple more days. I've got 3 more days until I can tell you all what it is. So I'm really excited. So, and that's why I'm telling everyone that if you can get into AVA at this point, well, it's low, because I think, it's going to be some big news.
I think so. I'm trying to catch my words here because I don't want to say too much. No, I'll just be quiet, let the news do the talking.
So that's our 10 charts and our chart of the week, and BTC and Ethereum. So obviously I think over the next little while we're going to get those 6 releasing. Market sentiment back in January was really, really super bullish, probably bearish, probably more bearish than what it is now. So I do believe a lot of those futures that are coming into the market are going to be shorts, and short sell long. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. If we have a look at all the charts, and I'm looking at basically, we're on long-term supports. So I think so Sean's just saying Ava's constantly got announcements. This is a kind of a really big deal though. Ava does have announcements that of their sort of their financial position, and how much income they're bringing in and how much sales they're doing, and it's really cool to see what's happening with them, and how much development they're doing, and they've got of new staff because they're just growing and growing and growing. But I kind of think this is news. This one finally is news that's going to move the market. So would you increase your buy zone for Ava? Well, it's kind of almost there. So yeah. And hello, LA Methwich. Thank you for watching. So she's there.
Yeah, that was
if you've guys got any quick questions,
drop them in the chat now. The other cool thing is, any of you who are not currently members of gettingstartedincrypto.com, we've spent the last week adding some really cool new features, including a live chat, which has been a pretty good move actually. It seems, especially when these